Welcome back, guys. So I know in the program, we've been talking to a lot about the 7 levels of energy, the 7 levels of leadership. So I really want to spend some time talking you through what this really means. Now, these 7 levels of leadership, this is the core basis of inner energy. This is really what allows us to build awareness so that we can take this into our daily lives and ultimately create action on that. So we're going to go through today what these 7 levels mean. So as you know, before we jump in, there's 2 main types of energy. There's what we call anabolic energy, and then there's catabolic energy. So as a reminder, anabolic energy is non-stress related energy. It feels lighter, it feels more inspiring, it feels more creative, whereas catabolic energy is stress related energy. So oftentimes when we are in that stress zone, we're feeling a lot of level 1 and level 2 energy, whereas in that anabolic state, that's really focusing on that 3 through 7 energy. So what does this mean? Let's start with that level 1 and 2, that catabolic energy. Now, I want you to think of this as a continuum where level 1 is closest to that center, which is our self or our ego. This is our self-protection mode. This is, and when I say ego, I don't necessarily mean, oh, that person has such a big ego. They have such a big head, they're overconfident, cocky. That's not what I'm talking about when I use the word ego or self. Really what I talk about is this is our most driving self-protection mode. So the closer we are to the center of that circle, the higher level of stress, the lower level of consciousness, the higher level of judgment. And I want you to think of this as a continuum where when we go up on this scale, stress decreases, judgment decreases, and ultimately consciousness increases, which is our ultimate goal. We really want to start to take action and make decisions from this anabolic state as opposed to this catabolic state. So what does level 1 and 2 mean? What is catabolic energy? So I want you to think of this as your flight or your fight energy, right? We've all heard that term before, flight or flight. So that level 1 is that flight or that victim mode. This is, everybody has that little voice in the back of their heads telling us you're not good enough, or you just can't do it, or you're not smart enough, or, you have to be more perfect. This is that level 1. This is the closest level to that ego. It's that self-protection mode. Now at level 2, this is coming from a place of black or white, right or wrong, good or bad. This is conflict related energy. This is that fight zone. And so in order to move forward in this level, someone has to lose in order for the other person to win. Think of this as argument, frustration. Really the main word here is conflict. The idea that conflict exists is really that level 2 energy, where level 1 is that feeling of powerlessness, right? You think of, oh God, why does this have to be happening to me right now? That's that level 1 energy. Now, everybody experiences this type of energy, but the goal is, how can we try to be here less often? We can never eliminate it, but how can we create action to spend less time here, to spend more time in that anabolic state? So let's talk about, on the flip side, that anabolic energy. Now, level 3, this is the level of forgiveness. I also like to call this the Band-Aid mode. So although this is mostly anabolic in nature, there is some catabolic energy behind it. Let's call it 60-40. So in this level 3, oftentimes what we do is we slap a Band-Aid on what's happening in that level 1 and level 2 energy underneath the surface in order to make progress towards our end desired result or goal. Oftentimes we do take acceptance for our feelings here. We're able to move forward. We're able to get out of that stuck mode. But the disadvantage here, or the partial red flag, is if we're only moving forward through this level 3 lens, it's not necessarily sustainable. And a lot of things can go unaddressed because of that level 1 and level 2 energy underneath the surface. Now think of this as being stuck in a job that just does not get you going, right? At the end of the day, this is, this is one of those things where I have to pay my bills. See, there's all these reasons, right? I have to pay my bills. I have to support my family. I have to have a job. What's it going to look like if I don't have a job? We could list off a million reasons, right? There's a million reasons rationally, but for some reason, there's something going on. There's something stronger happening. We have to ask ourselves that question: what is really going on to be able to move out of that level 3 into higher levels of energy? And that doesn't happen until we address what's going on underneath the surface. Level 4, I'm sure there's a lot of parents watching this. This is what I like to call service energy. This is putting others ahead of ourselves, as in putting our children ahead of ourselves. And so sometimes there's this energy can feel really good, right? It feels really good to show up of service, be caring, compassionate. There's a lot of good in this anabolic space. But the caution here is sometimes, and I'm sure some of you have absolutely felt this or even feeling it amidst the context that you're living in today, we put others so much ahead of ourselves that it can lead us to drop back into that level 1 or level 2 because of either feeling overwhelmed or frustrated because we just have way too much going on. I know, for example, Justin and I feel like we have a lot going on this weekend. And although he's trying to make decisions from that level 4 space, there's a lot of level 2 coming up because we have to be able to say no to some things. We have to be able to find our best yes. And that's where we really have to be careful with this level of energy. Now, levels 5, 6, and 7 are the highest levels of energy, the highest levels of consciousness. And when we can show up between these 3 levels of energy, this is really where we start to see massive change. Now, level 5, this is that level of opportunity. This is what I like to call the win-win zone. So in this level of energy, oftentimes we take every situation that we are faced with and see it as an opportunity, whether it's good or bad. These situations are no longer viewed as good or bad because ultimately there is something to be learned. I'll give you an example. Last month, Justin and I were moving into a new home and nothing went right. It was like Murphy's Law. It was terrible. The house wasn't ready when we moved in. We had issues with the construction. It was a brand new house that we were building. And it just felt like nothing could go right. And one of my biggest opportunities is flexibility, being able to be flexible amongst uncertainty and change. And instead of dropping into this level 1, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Right? That powerlessness mode or that victim mode, I started to shift and I started to see every situation as an opportunity for me to start to exercise that new flexibility muscle. And once I started to approach it through that lens, I found myself being more creative, having higher energy, problem solving in a better way, and a lot more good things started to happen. We started to see forward momentum within the house. So that's at level 5. Level 6, this is that level of ultimate passion or flow state. So the beauty about level 6 is we are able to move into a collaboration mode because ultimately your success is my success and my failure is your failure and vice versa. Right? Whether it be a family, a partnership, a company, a team, general humanity, right? When we serve that larger thing at play, that larger end goal, that larger need, that larger service that is at play, that is when we all start to work together. And that is where massive energy comes from as a result. Now, level 7, the other thing about level 6 I do want to mention is that oftentimes we can find ourselves in a flow state here of pure creativity or pure passion. So in this level, what we're able to do is, I'm sure we've all had this experience before, right? We sit down to do something, we get into the flow at 1 o'clock, we look up, 3 hours have gone by, it's 4 o'clock without even knowing, wow, where did the time go? That is that level 6 energy. We are so entrenched, we are so engrossed, we are so present in what it is that we are doing that we are simply experiencing that flow state. Now, level 7, this is that highest level of consciousness. This is complete consciousness, complete objectivity, and lack of judgment. Stress also does not exist here. So at this level 7, it's going to take practice to be able to access this level. what we can do, I like to use this, I like to use the scenario as the chess player versus the chess game, right? These other 6 levels, we're the chess pieces, right? Maybe at level 5, we're the queen, at level 6, we're the king, but we are still pieces on the chessboard. But when we move to this level 7, we're able to zoom out. We are able to zoom out, and we are able to become the chess player, seeing everything for what it is, looking at all of our options. And when we move into this state, into this highest level of energy, we're able to choose one of these other 6 levels because it's what serves us the best in that moment. There may be some times where level 3 is our best option, or even level 1 is our best option, right? Think of it, that level 1 and level 2 still serves a purpose. If there's a bus charging at us, of course, we're going to jump into that level 1 and flee from the bus, right? We're not going to move to that level 7. The bus does not exist. It cannot hit me, right? We're going to move into that level 1 because that's our survival mode. It absolutely is meant to protect us. And in a lot of ways, it protects us in a good way. But when we start to apply too much meaning to that level 1 and level 2, that's when it starts to show up physically in our bodies as stress and have long-term effects. So what I'm going to share with you guys next is, now that you have a basis of understanding, and keep in mind that with these, they are not unique to one person. So it's not as if we're always in level 4, or we're always in level 6, or we're always in level 1. We all experience all 7 levels at any given point in time. Where we will see the change happen is when we look at the amount of time we spend in these levels. And if you're interested, we have an assessment that actually measures where you're at in these 7 levels, and you can have even greater awareness to start to take change and action from. So really what we're going to talk you through next is, now that we have this basis understanding of awareness, how to use this and how to create change from there. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Go own it.